there is no such a thing as aging. There is just such a phenomenon as toxicity level. So toxicity level is increased or reaches unprecedented levels, so the body just can't handle. The immunity system is constantly triggered. There's constant inflammation, constant draining of energy, constant fatigue. Boom, you can't do anything. You're just fooling yourself. Oh, I'm meditating on this. It's impossible, because the fountain of this, what you call youth, life, immortality, is kind of veiled, because most of parasites are in the low abdominal area, in the digestive tract, but their toxins spread all over the body with the circulation of blood. And then, when they just circulate in the blood, then, according to Ayurvedic knowledge and Siddha medicine, disease starts penetrating into muscles, into bones. This is the level where normal medicine calls it incurable disease, but for Siddha medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, it's all curable and reversible. But the deeper the penetration, the harder it is to evacuate it, because it settles in the tissues. Now, all these diseases like arthritis and all, it has started somewhere in the childhood and teenage times, when toxins were still in the blood. When toxins are in the blood, you can remove them. When they're still in the digestive system, it means they're in the mucosa, they're in this lymph. When they're in the lymph and blood, it's all very curable, reversible. Within 3 weeks to 3 months, you can basically reverse whatever situation, and you won't even probably have any symptoms except some fatigue and stuff, restlessness. But once it starts penetrating tissues and starts forming into some kind of formations, becomes like tumor-like or lumps, or becomes like crusts, or you feel like some kind of like screeches in your knees and your joints and all these things, and your neck and stuff, that means it has penetrated deeper. It means it has been at least for 20 years. Could be even, sometimes people use so much stuff that it could be even within several years, the level of toxicity reached in an average person, the amount of 20 years spent in toxic environments. But for some people, it's so intense that it could be within a year to 5 years that they feel so bogged down, restless, constantly like, I don't know, can't just be balanced and still. So again, the disease could be seen from the standpoint of what is your mental condition. And mental condition, there are 2 mental conditions and everything in between. One is anxiety and one is peace. Everything which is in between is kind of tending towards the anxiety. When you are tending towards an anxiety, the degree of that first restlessness, some kind of unsettled feeling, and then already anxiety, and then uncontrollable rage can be even further. So these are disease states of mind and body, because the body which is diseased, which is toxified, cannot be at peace. And so most of the doctors look at it from a very different point of view. They look at symptoms. They look, okay, the person is sweating, the person is dry, the person is having fever or having chills. But these are all just different responses to one and the same problem, because different bodies respond in a different way. All this rise of temperature, chills, I don't know, rashes, and all of these are not any kind of symptoms other than that your immunity system is in constant triggered state. And it's called overall an inflamed state. And what is the inflamed state? The inflamed state is diseased. This means you're not at ease. You're constantly restless. Your mind is constantly focused on the body, because the body keeps on drawing attention to itself, because it wants to neutralize the reason of that information and that problem. So it's the mind and body alignment, and the mind cannot be at ease, at peace, whatever, as long as the body is diseased in this very much kind of toxic state, and eaten by parasites, or constantly processing toxins, mycotoxins from fungus, mold, candida, or heavy metals. Heavy metals are not causing toxicity, but they are triggers within the system that do not allow the system to be at rest. So, and because of our food and the whole environmental pollution is there, on a very deep level. So whatever we take in causes some sort of response. That's why allergies are on the rise, mental sickness on the rise, all kinds of immunity disorders which we don't even know of or had never heard, like say 20 years ago or 50 years ago. We've learned to pacify, numb kind of the system. So basically what they started targeting with all these antidepressants and all what, just you have to calm down the immunity, not to go to the mental or to the upper glands, which is, it's a taboo to touch that system. It's a very sophisticated machine. We are like a brain and everything, but we started targeting our upper glands, numbing sort of pains and all response, the system's response, instead of actually detoxifying the system, because it would have been so easy and we wouldn't need to spend so much time and money on pharmaceuticals then. You see, most of the problems with mental health is because the body is so diseased that the mind cannot cope. The mind's focus is continuously drawn into the body, and then the body is feeling uncomfortable. That's why it dramatizes life from within. That's where people get triggered by things that shouldn't normally trigger anyone. People become literally, that's why we call it crazy response, because it's emotional dysregulation occurs. Besides the fact that, yes, we can access the collective clusters of consciousness, emotional baggage from our ancestors and all, the problem is we stimulate our nervous system to such a degree with all these numbing mechanisms and all these stuff that are unhealthy foods, that this just triggers such a bizarre response, immunity response. Our mental faculties cannot process. We're dysregulated. We react to things and people the way we shouldn't. And now it's been normalized that it's normal to lash at someone, to scream, to do all this crazy stuff. And now we normalize the crazy stuff, the madness. And unfortunately, we're not getting any closer to any healing, because the healing is actually at the reach of our hand. Like we can just stretch the hand. But again, we don't know the system. It's very easy. But think about most of the past 200 years, generations, they are not close to nature. They don't know that every plant is a portal. Every plant has specific function and ability to neutralize certain poisons within the body. Yet we are all drugged. The plants are used only to numb and drug the system, when there are many other plants that's supposed to be used to balance the system, to detoxify. If you look at any plant, like most of the plants, 19%, I would say, or more, are directed to detoxification. Some plants detoxify certain particular organs or systems, but they all are antiparasitic, because if they're of bitter quality, bittersweet, or anything like that, they are antiparasitic. And so now what we have is that we don't have access, nor we know how to use them. Plus, our diets became so far from natural and the original diets that at this point, it's very difficult to bring population in general on a global scale to any kind of level of healing. Everyone thinks they're healing or getting through this detoxification, but it's for a very short time. Either the time is not enough, duration is not enough, or the dosage is not right. Like people don't know how. And then the only way you can know it is your body getting into a more peaceful state or not. This is the only kind of like a measurement, the standard. Are you at peace, grounded, you're blissful, you feel this like bliss from your pelvis and it's just spreading all over and makes you feel grounded. You feel, doesn't matter, the sun is shining, the rain is raining, it's all perfect. If you don't have that feeling, you haven't returned to your authentic natural state, unfortunately. And yes, people can be triggered by frequencies, mobile frequencies, all kinds of frequencies if they live in the cities. they can be, you know, manipulated even by frequencies, and they can start feeling restless. But you have to be established in your own frequency. That's when you start your actually true journey, where your own frequency can counterbalance the other lower frequencies from the outside. Because after all, your internal frequency can beat any other frequency if you know that, and if you can establish yourself in that. So